Continue standing on page 199 and read responsibly. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways, and yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity.
We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Please join with me. Gratefully we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel, and joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life we return to you and find purpose.
May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch Yisrael Ba'ahava.
We continue on page 200 with the Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
Please join us in chanting the Ve'ahavta on page 201.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levacha u'nafsho nafshecha u'bechol me'otecha ve'hayu ha'dvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lektecha b'derech u'shoftecha u'kumecha Ushartam le'ot ayadecha ve'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'bisharecha le'man tiseru v'asitem kol mitzvotai Item Kedoshim Le'Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher Hoseiti Etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot Lachem Elohim Ani Adonai
Continue together. Love Adonai, your God, with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them at the forefront of your vision.
Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gates. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can live holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt with hunger your God.
I am Adonai your God. On page 203. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles and an earth protected and cherished. A gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content. The soldiers home to leave no more. The song of world redeemed. The song of peace.
We join together on page 204 for our song of freedom, of hope, of peace. Mi Chamocha 204.
Ya ba bim bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bim bam, ya ba bim bam. Ay 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 ay, ya ba bim bam. Ay 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 ay, Mi Chamocha, Ani Adonai, Mi Chamocha, Nedar v'Kodesh, Norati.
Please rise.
Adonai, Sephartaitita, Ufia, Nitanilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Please join me in chanting the Avot V'Himachot and Geburot on page 206.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu V'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Ha'adol Ha'ibor Ve'anora El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim Lekoneh Hakol Lezoher Hastei Avot V'Imachot Ve'Yekilah V'Nehem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magei Baruch atah Adonai Maginam B'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh Kulata Le'Oshiach Mashich HaRuach U'Morit HaGashem Mechakel Hayim Behesed Mechayeh Hakol Berachamim Rabim Someh Noflim Verohet Holim Umatzmir Asurim Mechayeh El Nato
You are the open door that beckons me in. Peeking around the door frame, I begin to enter into your glory. You move me forward, O Eternal, to step beyond self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you. In the house of the Eternal, I found my questions, waiting to be posed. They fill me with wonder. Sit with me, Eternal Teacher. Encourage my seeking as I fill my hours with your mitzvot. So shall I be filled. Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, sharing out this wonder, and enriching myself in the giving. Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all.
לקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש קדוש Baruch Kevod Adonai Bimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu Malkeinu, hu Moshiachenu vehu Yoshmienu, v'rachama lenei kol chai. קדושתך נטיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה
We continue in silent prayer. You can take some time to pray that are in your heart, or if you would like to follow along in the prayers in the prayer book, they can be found on pages 210 through 219. And whenever you are ready, we invite you to be seated.
We continue with the words of peace, peace among all people, peace among all the inhabitants of the earth, and peace within all of our hearts on the bottom of page 353. Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Le'al Kulam. Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Le'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu le'kol olam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu le'kol Israel. Salam Shalom. Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Le'al Kulam. Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Ojavo Shalom Aleinu, Le'al Kulam.
Our Torah service is going to begin on page 246. I would like to invite Stephanie and Jeff back up to help us take the Torah out of the ark. And again, if you are able, I invite you to please rise.
Zehu Shavim Rashavem, Uzehu Pitrei Olam, Ve'avo Melech HaKavod, Mihu Ze Melech HaKavod, Adonai Tzavaot, U'Melech HaKavod, Selah.
Jeff is beginning what we call, you can hang on to it for a moment, Jeff. Jeff is beginning what we call the Torah pass, which is a pass from generation to generation, starting with the boy's grandma, and then in a moment it will go to Stephanie and to Lucien and Sean. And the idea is that you're not just literally passing the Torah, but you're passing down all of its teachings and traditions. And what's so beautiful, Sean and Lucien, is you can look out to see a community who's helped to teach you Torah, both your parents and your family and also your friends as well. And our hope for you is that this Torah, that these values and teachings are not just yours today, but that they continue to be yours for generations to come, and that you continue to not just learn, but also then act in the world based on all of these values. And so, Jeff, we want to invite you to now pass the Torah to Stephanie, and she'll then pass it on to Lucien and to Sean. Very nice. In this scroll is the secret of our people's lives from Sinai until now. Its teachings are love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Olam, Olam, Omer.
you can see that undressing and dressing and reading from the Torah requires excellent teamwork, and so we are very glad that Sean and Lucien have one another today. So we read the Torah in a cycle. It always begins with our holiday called Simchat Torah, when we end the Torah reading the book of Deuteronomy and the death of Moses, and then immediately after we reopen it and we start with the story of creation, really the origin story of people and who we want to be. And Sean and Lucien will be reading right after that from the next Torah portion, all the way as you can see the very beginning of the Torah. And so you might wonder, why are we reading the same text over and over and over again? And the idea is that each time we read it, we're in a different place in our lives. So we see something new in the text. And the other reason is that we get to have new teachers. And so we get to learn new insights from different parts and wisdom from the Torah. And so today, we are really, really excited that we are going to have wonderful teachers of Torah. And so Lucien, in a moment, is... Sean has your binder. Yep. Lucien is going to share his words of Torah about the very beginning of our Torah portion, the story of Noah and the flood.
We are living in scary times, a global pandemic and people divided by hatred and greed. In the book of Genesis, God saw how wicked the people on earth had become, and so God said, I will destroy from the earth the people I have created, and with them the animals, birds, and creeping things. My Torah portion is Noah from the first book of the Torah, Genesis. When the people of the world misbehaved, God decided to punish them by bringing about the great flood. But the purpose of the flood was not really to destroy the world. The purpose of the flood was to restart the world. Now, Noah was said to be about 600 years old at this point in the Bible, which seems a little unrealistic, but there are more important lessons to be learned about this story about the 600-year-old man who had 3 sons when he was 500. In today's world, perhaps climate change is God's warning that we are misbehaving and destroying the earth. Due to the greed of a few, all of us are threatened as people as people continue to misbehave, ignore the warnings. And we are again seeing flooding, wildfires, hurricanes, all threaten to again destroy the people, the animals, the birds, and maybe even some of the creeping things. Every punishment can really be a learning process. Instead of just being angry about our mistakes and the resulting consequences, we should think about what we can learn from them. We have to ask ourselves, what can I do to make sure this doesn't happen next time? When a mistake helps us learn how to do better in the future, then it turns into a learning experience, which isn't so bad after all. If a punishment teaches us to be a better person, then it's not such a bad punishment. The important lessons that we can learn from each mistake are the greatest gifts of all. The Torah tells us that Noah was a righteous person, so God saved Noah and tells him to build an ark for his family and animals. Noah listens to the warnings from God and believes them. Just as we should listen to the warnings around us like climate change and do something about them. So what is the lesson of the story of Noah and the ark? Should those who behave badly be given a second chance? Noah was given a second chance when he got drunk and treated his children badly. There's probably 100 or 200-year-old children, if my math is right. To me, this means that maybe we should all be given a second chance if we can learn from our mistakes. This relates to me becoming a bar mitzvah because it reminds me that it's not that I have answers to all these questions, but that I think about the questions to ask. It's about becoming more responsible, learning from my mistakes, and accepting the consequences of my actions. And most of all, to me, it's about learning to help others and to become a better person.
Yashikov, thank you so much, Lucien, for your beautiful, beautiful words of Torah that we can all learn from. Lucien is now going to be chanting from the Torah. He's going to be chanting from the beginning of the portion of Noah. First, we are going to call forward members of his family and friends. And for those of you who will be doing aliyot, we invite you to do them from the mic. This is, welcome to the modern world. You're going to be doing them from the microphones that are right here in the community. So when it's your turn to come up, please come up to whichever mic is closest to you.
For the first aliyah, I'd like to invite up Mike Ball, Jeff's brother and uncle to Lucien and Sean. Yamod Aliyah la Torah.
Vartu et Adonai Hambara.
Baruch Adonai Hambara Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambara Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Eile Toldot Noah Ish Sadiq Tamim Haya B'Dortam Et HaElohim Yitzhalech Noah Vayoled Noah Shlosha Panim Et Shem Et Ham Ve'et Yafet V'tishachet Haaretz Lifnei HaElohim V'timalei Haaretz Chamaz.
And for the second Aliyah, I invite parents of Lucien and Sean, Jeff and Stephanie Hall. Yamdu Aliyah Torah. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayar Elohim et haaretz v'hinei nishchata ki hishchit kol basar et darko al haaretz. Vayomer Elohim leNoah k'etz kol basar ba lefanai ki ma'al haaretz Hamas mipnehem v'hineni mashchitam et haaretz aseh lecha tevat atzei gofer kini ta'aseh et hateva v'chafarta ota mibayit unichus b'kofer.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata v'techenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
And for the honor of the third Aliyah, we call to the Torah as a bar mitzvah, Lucien Ball.
Yamod, 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 Yamod. Barach ben Atara ve'Ofir, bar ha-mitzvah, maftir, chazak.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
V'zeh asher ta'aseh ota shalosh me'ot amah. Orech hateva 50 amah rochba ושלושים אמה כל מטה. זוהר תעשה לתיבה, ואמה תחלנה מלמעלה, ופתח התיבה בצידה תעשים, תפקיעים שניים ושלישים תעשיך.
Wow. That was amazing, Lucien.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet
וחיי עולם אתה בתוכנו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
We don't usually clap at services, but you can do, a little wave of love and congratulations to Lucien, who just read from the Torah without any vowels. That was amazing. Before Sean will read from our portion, we always pause with the Torah in our midst to draw from its strength, especially at a time like this, to think of the people in our own lives, in our community, maybe even ourselves, who are struggling and are in need of a prayer for healing. And we know at this time there are so many people in our country and world who are struggling with physical illness, and also those who are struggling with loneliness and with isolation. And so we bring all of them into our hearts and also think of the people in our own lives that we want to pray for as we offer these words of healing, Mishaberach, which can be found in the middle of page 253. Hear words of Torah from Sean, who is going to share with us a little bit about the end of the Torah portion. So Lucien read from the beginning, the story of the flood, and now Sean is going to talk about the very, very end, the story of the Tower of Babel.
Just think, the kind of things mankind could do if every nation, every people on this planet were united as one. My Torah reading comes from the very end of the Noah's Ark story. It is the story of the Tower of Babel, and in my opinion, it fixes a really big plot hole in the Torah. I mean, we all live separately. How could we have come from the same person? Long ago, every person spoke the same language. They started settling in a valley located in the land of Shinar. They began building a tower, one so high that it threatened God himself. More and more people joined in to help build the tower. They wanted to build a city with a tower that reaches the sky so that they could make a name for themselves and not be scattered across the earth. God came down to see the tower that the people had built. And God saw that as long as these people had all the same language and were able to live in harmony, none of their ambitions were beyond their reach. To keep humans from conquering the earth or whatever they planned to do with their power, God confused their speech and scattered them across the planet. So basically, God saw that humans were too powerful for the good of the universe that God had created. So God separated them by giving them different languages. And just like that, we gave up. I mean, we didn't even try to reconnect. There's something called being bilingual. And in this day and age, connecting with others across the world is just as easy as talking to your next-door neighbor. Some people. Just think all that we could accomplish together if we were never separated. Who knows, the space age could have started 1,000 years ago. Hundreds of years ago, we stayed separate because of mountains, rivers, valleys, and oceans. But now we can travel halfway across the world in a day, and you don't even have to do that to connect with each other. It's called the internet. So tell me, what insignificant, petty reason do we have not to unite as a people? You might say, the other guys are weird, or we're doing just fine the way that we are. First off, we're all humans, and we all share unique qualities. And also, we're not doing fine, really, if you think that you're wrong. Today, we are literally and figuratively separated. It is every country for themselves, and even then we are separated by race and religion within our own country. I can't stress it enough, the amount of potential the human race has together. For example, if we work together instead of having so many secrets and relying on competitive spirit, the coronavirus might have not spread as much. There is no reasonable excuse for not working together, especially now. COVID-19 needs to be stopped. Only to be united, not physically. In order to do that, every nation needs to work together on creating a vaccine and keeping the virus from spreading. We all need to work together to keep everyone safe. And in the end, all we need to know is what we were taught in kindergarten. 1. Don't judge a book by its cover. 2. All people are created equal. 3. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Don't let all these petty things get in the way of what our society could be if we work together.
Beautiful, Sean. And Yasher Koach. Yeah, let's do our hands. Beautiful. An important reminder for all of us in this moment to find the ways in which we can connect and the ways in which we should be working together to deal with issues that are much bigger than each of us as individuals and require all of us to work as one. Sean is going to be reading, as I said, from the end of this Torah portion. And again, we will be inviting up members of his family and friends for the Aliyot.
For his first Aliyah, we invite up Terry Krikorian, Jeff's business partner and family friend. Yamod L'Aliyat HaTorah.
Baruch et Adonai Hambarak.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amin, ve'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayehi kol haaretz safa echat udvarim ahadim. Vayehi Kedem Vayimtzeu Eretz Shinar Vayeshvu Sham Vayomeru Ish Elvechu Hava Milbena Levinim V'nisrefa Vatehi Lahem Halevena Le'aven V'hachemar Ayalachem Lehomer.
Beautiful. And Terry with the blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lahu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata be'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Not yet, Sean.
He's so excited. Aliyah for his second Aliyah, we call up Claudia and Steve Caney, family friends. Yamdu Aliyat HaTorah. Baruch et Adonai Hamborah. Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natananu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tuheinu, baruch HaTorah v'lo noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomeru, hava nivle lanu migdal l'rosha v'shamayim v'na'aseh lanu shem ken nafutz al pnei kol ha'aretz. Vayered Adonai lirot hazahir ve'et hamigdal asher banu b'nei ha'adam. Vayomer Adonai Hein am ehad v'safa achat lekulam v'zeh hachilam la'asot ve'ata lo yibatzeh asher yatzemu la'asot.
Beautiful. And now if we could have you back up for the blessing after Torah.
Yeah, right there. Perfect.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natananu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tuheinu, baruch HaTorah v'lo noten HaTorah.
Amen.
And now for the honor of being called to a Torah as a bar mitzvah, we invite up Sean Ball.
Yamod, 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 Yamod. Yohanan ben Atara ve'Ofer, bar hamitzvah, maftir, chazak.
Baruch et Adonai Hambora.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambora le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Hava nirda v'navla sham sefatam asher lo yishmeu ish sefat rehu. Vayafetz Adonai otam misham al pnei kol haaretz. Vayachtelu livnot ha'ir al kein kara shema Bavel Kisham Balal Adonai Sefat Kol Haaretz Omisham Hafitzam Adonai Al Pnei Kol Haaretz. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen.
We can do little hands for Sean. Beautiful, beautiful chanting and reading, Sean. Thank you so much. Sean and Lucien are now going to be chanting their Haftarah from the book of Isaiah. And first they are going to share the blessing.
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'njiyim tovim v'ratzah v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai Haboher Batorah Uvmoshe Abdo Uvisrael Amo Uvinvieh Ha'emet Batzedek Lama Tishkelu Hesed Belo Lehem Vegiahem Belo Masava Shim'u Shamoa Elai Ve'ichluto V'titanag V'deshen Nafshehem Hatu Oznechem Uchu Eivai Shim'u Uzchi Nafshechem Ve'ech Reita Lachem Birit Olam Hasdei David Hane'emanim Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Zur Kol Haolamim Tzadik Bechol Hadorot Ha'el Hane'emar Ha'omer Ve'oseh Hamdaber Umkayeh Shekol Devarav Emet V'Tzedek All HaTorah Ve'al HaAvodah Ve'al HaNevi'im Ve'ayom HaShabbat Hazeh Shenatatan lanu Adonai Eloheinu Litusha V'limnucha Lechavod U'tifaret Al Hakol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu modim Lach U'barachim Otaf Yitbarach Shimcha Yefekol Hai Tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Amen.
Nicely done, gentlemen. This is the time where you get to have, just take a deep breath, revel in your success here, and just enjoy the rest of the service. We are now going to invite up Sean and Lucien's parents, Stephanie and Jeff, to share with the boys a quiet moment of blessing. Stephanie and Jeff, you get to stay up here as we prepare to dress our Torah and return the Torah to the Ark. So if you are able, I again invite you to please rise.
Shalom, Hashivenu Adonai Elecha V'nashuva V'ameinu V'kadam Kadesh Yameinu Kekadem La 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 la
Beautiful. You may be seated. So Sean and Lucien, Cantor Cates and I could not be prouder of all of the time and work that you have put into preparing for this day. Your poise today and your beautiful, beautiful wisdom that you shared with us and the Torah that you shared with us is really, really inspiring. And I have to say, I remember not too long ago when you were starting to learn Hebrew with Shoshi. And now you're up here chanting these words of Torah and teaching these words of Torah, and you fully have embraced what it means to be a bar mitzvah, both in thought and in deed. For you two have not only engaged in the work and the study of this process, you also really welcomed the sense of community. And through your bar mitzvah meetings with each of us on the clergy team and your weekly religious school classes and the love and support of your parents, you have created connections and really explored what it means to become responsible and socially conscious Jews and citizens. And I dare say you even had some fun in this process, whether it was dancing during our dress rehearsal or passionately sharing words for your Divrei Torah. Your Torah portion, Noah, shares two pivotal stories from that you both taught us so beautifully, the story of the flood and the story of the Tower of Babel. And both of these stories remind us of the consequences that take place when we as humans abandon one another and stop taking care of each other. In fact, our sages teach that the people were so enamored by the prospect of reaching heaven that they began to neglect one another, ignoring the misfortunes, even the deaths, that befell their fellow workers during the construction of the Tower of Babel that you taught us about, Sean. There's a rabbinic story that explains that if one of the workers fell down and died, the others paid no attention to him. But that if one of the bricks fell down, that all of the people would sit and weep, lamenting, "What a loss! Look how long it will take until we can bring another brick into its place." And so you both reminded us of what is at stake when we become too focused on our own individual pursuits and stop working together, when we neglect to learn from our mistakes and instead become a society that can be filled with greed and corruption. These stories offer us, all of us, a wake-up call. that perhaps God doesn't exist in the highest of places, or in the structures that we build, or in the money that we earn, but rather God exists in the space between two people when they look upon one another, not as objects to be used or tools for achievement, but as wonders to be discovered, nurtured, and appreciated. Godly things occur, our tradition reminds us, when we exist in partnership with one another, as brothers, as a family, as a community, and when we ignite our curiosity and employ our empathy to really build real connections with each other. And so my hope for both of you is that you continue to pursue your Jewish learning and to engage in this Jewish community as deeply as you have done throughout this bar mitzvah process, and also that you continue to uncover your own unique gifts. You both have such beautiful, beautiful gifts that really are only yours, so that you can all help us repair the brokenness that is in our world and make it a more loving and a more whole and a more compassionate place, and hopefully a more fun place as well. And so Cantor Kates and I just want to wish you a huge mazel tov. We are so honored and thrilled to be part of this journey with you and with your family. And so I'm going to offer a blessing from our tradition. This is one of the oldest blessings. It's called the priestly blessing. Often we offer it at when you are born, and one day if people decide to get married, you're also offered this blessing, and then on the occasion of your bar mitzvah. And it goes, Yevarechacha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may God bless you and guard you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yikunecha, may the light of God shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God, or whatever it is that you believe in, always grant you peace, and may it also remind you that you need to be peacemakers in this world. And together we say, Amen. I'm going to invite a member of our board of trustees, Robert Aids. He's going to share with you some of the special gifts from our community. And Robert, you can come right up here to the mic in the center.
Congratulations, Lucien and Sean, on a wonderful job leading services today. Your family and friends should be really proud of all the hard work that got you here today. As a member of the Leobek Temple Board of Trustees, I'm happy to gift you the following items as a token of your hard work. These gifts include a Kiddush cup for use at all the joyous moments to come in your Jewish lives, a scholarship certificate in the amount of $250 toward the purchase of a summer trip to Israel with a youth reform group, and a bar mitzvah certificate from the temple noting the special achievement that you have achieved today that's signed by our clergy. Mazel tov.
Thank you so much, Robert. We are going to continue with Aleinu on page 282, and again, if you are able, I invite you to please rise.
Aleinu l'shabech Adon hakol, latech gedula le'otzer b'reshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שמחנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר לאדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו echad.
We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Zichronam levracha, may their memories be for a blessing. As we recite Kaddish, our mourner's Kaddish this Shabbat, We especially remember your grandpa, Don Ball, who would have been so proud to see you two up here today. And we also think of Forrest Bell, Jacob Berman, Fanny Bernstein, Murray Heller Blumenfeld, Fred Cohen, Herta Ewell, Gertrude B. Hurst, Max Himovitz, Annette Karp, Hannah Katz, Jan Kraus, Sheldon Levin, Daniel Harmon Maccabee, Jack Nissenbaum, Michael Radford Sr., Scott Rich, Warren Rose, Eleanor Segan, Benjamin B. Smith, Beatrice Stock, Sybil Stoller, and Thomas B. Windholz. We also speak aloud at this time the names of anyone whom we are thinking of in our own lives, whom we would like to offer a Good Mourner's Kaddish for. We join together in these words from our tradition on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yamad v'chayechon u'vyomechon v'chayei techol beit Yisrael v'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei amayim. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yiroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barechu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'ama v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru Amen. You may be seated.
Shalom v'rava, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru Amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We are going to sanctify the Shabbat with Kiddush, with our blessing over the wine, and then the boys get to have a little taste of challah with our motzi prayer, and then we'll invite all of you to turn right here. You will see a montage that Stephanie and Jeff created. So first we're going to offer our blessing over the wine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Take a sip, take a sip.
They're feeling the celebration. And now our blessing over the challah motzi. You guys have your own little personal challah for the two of you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, Shabbat shalom.
Then on the second floor, the rigid stairs get off. Since lunch, in December, drinking horchata, I'd look psychotic in a balaclava. Winter's cold is too much to handle. Then she grabs the bench at your sandals. Horchata, look down your glasses at that aranciata with lips and teeth to ask how my day went. Boots and fists to climb out the pavement. Here goes feeling for you'd forgotten, just to sit inside walls to welcome. Horchata, you'd still enjoy it with your foot on the cider. Winter's cold is too much to handle. Then she grabs the bench at your sandals. Here comes the feeling of you'd forgotten, just to sit inside walls to welcome.